Hey everyone, I'm going to respond to a comment I got in my last video about someone was asking, when is the best time to introduce broad targeting? Can broad targeting work or open targeting or whatever some people call it right away in your ad account? And by the way, that just to be clear on what that means, open targeting means you don't add any interest, you don't add in audience segments or anything like that. This means you literally are going through where you would set up in Facebook ads any of the detailed targeting options and you leave it blank. And so, that being said, if you have a brand new ad account, sometimes it's going to take a while to see the data come in and be like, the generating sales right away. Like I said, if it's a brand new ad account, so you're going to have to be patient with it and make sure that you're willing to put in the time and test your creative and really focus on those things, because the thing that affects broad campaigns the most is your creative. Because what you're saying is, hey, I know that I'm going to trust the Meta platform to look at all the facets of my ad, whether that's the headline, the primary description, the or the primary text, and then the descriptions, the images, the videos, because these with the way these platforms work, they can look and read your images, read your videos to figure out what you're talking about, and then they know, okay, it makes sense to show up in front of this user. So that's why you use broad and open targeting, because over time it's like it collects enough data from your creative and your website and all these different things to figure out who it makes the most sense for. Now, that's super powerful, especially when you do get more data and you have a larger data set in your ad account. I am also a believer, and if you don't have a huge budget or you don't have the opportunity to like really let that learn and you're okay being patient with it for a little bit. When I say a little bit, I mean, 3 to 4 weeks to really measure it, and, really be focusing on your creative. But if you don't have that time, you can add in or create a separate campaign. I should say, create a separate campaign that is just a couple interests and only add one interest in each ad set that is targeting things that would make sense for your brand, right? So if you're selling clothes or something like that, and it's like, I don't know, let's say you're selling skirts or something. I don't know why I picked skirts, but if there's like an interest set for that uh, in Meta, you can go ahead and use that as one ad set and drive intent there. So the only thing is, a lot of the people in those interest groups have actually shown sometimes not to even convert as much as it used to, but it's a better start sometimes than going broad if you have nothing in your ad account. This just depends on your industry and your brand and a lot of other things. Like, you have to make sure, you know, don't just chalk it up to your ads not being good. Is your website good? Like, is the user experience good? Is the way you're like, make sure you've done your homework on all the other pieces and then focus on, issues that could be happening with your ads. So, again, what I would say is test a couple of the different interests. Another example is if you're selling like, phone cases or something. I don't know. Um, if you target people that have identified an interest in Apple and iPhones, or things like that, then you have an opportunity to kind of narrow down your interest and then feed the data a little bit faster, potentially into your ad account. I'm not going to say that there's not one rule that works, in my opinion, for every ad account. So I always suggest test, let the data tell you, and then once you have enough data, and I'm talking like maybe 50 to 100 sales, then you can then go back and maybe try a little bit more of the broad targeting. And yeah, that's kind of my pieces on that. And then the other thing is, uh, adding customer lists can help. It just feeds it based on if you've identified those as users who have already purchased from your website, and you can put that into the Meta platform, and Meta can then look and say, hey, I know that these are the type of people that we're trying to go after, because that's the objective you identify that you're going after in your campaigns, right? You're not optimizing for add to carts or initiate checkouts. You're optimizing for purchases. Meta knows, hey, I'm going to go try and find other folks like that. And then lastly, know your metrics. So if you're buying a product, and I'm just going to use I don't know whether it's dropshippers or just any business model, but if you know you have to buy your product for $5, and then have your cost to generate a sale right on Meta is 20 or $25. So now you're looking at, so let's call it 20. So now you're looking at $25 to you're all in to generate the sale. So you need to make sure your product's priced high enough to make sure Meta is a viable platform for you to run ads and be profitable on. And that comes down to, well, how do I know how much it's going to cost me and all that sort of stuff? It's different by industry. I have clients that are lawyers, very expensive for them to run ads on Google, any platform. It's just, the ad platforms know they can charge. It's very competitive versus you're selling some e-commerce products. Depending on the e-commerce product and how niche it is, it can be very cheap. So that's why drop shipping works, is because the industry for that CPM, which is the cost to reach 1,000 people, can be really cheap. And so you have the opportunity to show up more. So early on when you're running these, I would really focus on your CPMs, because I think that really tells the health/story of your ad account. Of if you see your CPM go from, one day it's like at 85, the next day it drops down to 20, and you see different fluctuations in it, you can try and gauge what that means in your ad account. You'll see it, maybe one creative starts doing better because it's getting the cheaper CPM, which is what you would want. And then you can create more creative like that. So you have to kind of understand what your metrics are in your ad account and by industry. And once you can connect those, and that helps you then figure out if you're going in the right direction. So again, I always encourage people before that they like spend a lot of time assessing their ad account, is make sure that your things from like the front end, I would say, are running correctly or running smoothly, and that you're giving a good experience to your users. All right, the website, good creative, how do your product images, is free shipping on there, is things like that. So that's my 10 cents. Let me know if you have any questions below. Feel free to like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Love answering. All right, bye.